Well, so talk to me about, you mentioned Kenyans. You mentioned two Kenyans. I've been here for about 6 years, but I never met Kenyans at all. I remember I went to a store and I met this Ethiopian lady. I asked her, "Are you from Ethiopia?" She said yes. And she asked, "Where are you from?" I said, "Kenya." And she was like, I never see you guys. Kenyans never leave their home. Looks like they're so comfortable where they are. And me being here as a Kenyan, I have not interacted or made any connections with Kenyans. So I think this goes to show that there's most Africans in the county that don't go actually out there and actually look for opportunities or, try to connect, reach out and stuff like that. What would you say about that?
I think the issue with the African community is that when they come here, they oftentimes spend most of their time in their circles. They spend most of their time in their circles, so they're not necessarily out there. And that's what we found. That actually is what impacted the lack of discussion or not seeing the African community as an actual stakeholder, because it's the way the African community, I mean, my parents did it. It's the way we socialize. I mean, when my dad was here, he didn't go out and about. He went to someone's house. They ate, GB together. That's something they would say in Liberian County. They would eat GB and talk, and that was his socializing. So he wouldn't necessarily be out and about holding a Liberian flag. He knew his folks because he would meet one person. They would go to each other's house, hang out. So that's how Africans socialize, and their socializing kind of hides them. So, and so you really don't know until you bring them out. So what I have done is that with the last election, what we did was that we actually when we went to things like when we were helping Aisha win her race, I put the word out there. I said, we're hiding too much. And it's becoming only the reason why people would know that they Africans here is because their nurse was African, or they might go to a doctor as African or something. It would be a worker of some sort. So they'll be like, oh, there's African people here. But have they seen them congregate? Have they seen them socialize? For the African community, not so much. See, the Caribbean community is more visible. They have stores here. They have their carnival celebration is something that happens locally. They've also been here a little bit longer than we have, but I do think that one of the things that I did was to tell people stop hiding, because what happens is that once you put yourself in that group, that's your social network, and you could keep that for 30 years. You could hang out with the same people, eat the food, go to the party, go to a wedding here and there, go to your alumni association meeting, and nobody is in there. One of the things that the mayor of Helena said that I will never forget, there was a Liberian mayor of Helena in Helena, Montana. And the Liberian Community Association had this event, and I never thought about it till he said it. It was 3 years ago, we were in the room, and he says, why is it that there's no non-Liberian in this room? So he said, when we have our events, we need to invite the outsiders to come in. And so that was something that we started to say. So now the Liberian Community Association calls me. They say, hey, who should we invite to our event? But most community associations never consider doing that. If you have a a tribal association group, alumni association, the only people they would even consider are their speakers are often the people that come from their countries. So they don't even have anyone outside come in, and they don't even consider it. And so we've got to change that. And that will change it. It would open us up. And I think people are starting to see, you will see in Prince George's County specifically, people are coming to me saying, oh, I love African food. Can you invite some Africans to my event? So they want to engage with the local people there. And now the local folks are asking, like I literally worked with a pastor of a church that had never interacted with hardly any elected officials and had been around for years. And he just went through regular process and he just kept his people. But no more. Those days are gone. So for the Kenyan community here, I'm pretty sure they're here. They're not as big as the Nigeria. The West African community obviously is the largest here, so is Ethiopians. But they're here eating ugali probably at someone's house. And that's how they socialize. And then you just got to find one. And when you find one, they'll introduce you to other. And you might even find yourself just socializing in that way. But I told our community leaders like that has to change. And I do see now that they're starting to invite people to their things. We're seeing that. But somebody has to put the word out. And then we also have to put, like, the business community for Africans are robust in this county. I mean, a good almost 40% of the businesses are owned by Africans in the county. However, the Africans are not in the chamber. If you go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting in the county, you will hardly see an African in the room. So when I've gone to Africa, I've actually gone to African business owners and I say, come to a join the Chamber of Commerce. They said, well, why? What do I need to? But see, that's the problem. Because of that, now when the pandemic happened and people needed loans and things, sometimes the chamber, all these people have so much information, but they gave it to the group that they knew because their group was a certain circle and African leader.